Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KitBadger.com, out here for another course review. Today talking about the Modern Minuteman class with AMTAC Shooting. Spring of 2022, May, I had a good opportunity to go down to Goldendale, Washington and take part in a 2-day Modern Minuteman class. Previously, Bill Rapier of AMTAC Shooting has put on, I think, 1 or 2 other Modern Minuteman classes, and both of them were invite only. This one in particular was the first kind of open enrollment, so got to head down there and check it out. The course started with Bill initially kind of talking about the genesis of the Modern Minuteman class, and ended up telling a story about how he and his buddy competing in the Sniper Adventure Challenge, and yeah, kind of how the course curriculum kind of coalesced and turned into the Modern Minuteman course.
So that was kind of the genesis behind doing this class right here, and the reason why we do a competition is guys generally train for something more if they know, like, hey, there's, like, everyone's going to see how many waypoints you got, like how much you were able to navigate. Guys will generally prepare for it a little bit more if there's some skin in the game. Plus it's just challenging. Like I like doing stuff like that.
After that, jumped into a safety brief, and then it was pretty cool, Bill kind of going over like guns and the idea of a Recce rifle. Having spent pretty much the lion's share of his time in the service, or in the Navy, in the teams, he did a bunch of Recce stuff. And so with that, kind of going through his gun setup, like how it kind of evolved with his time over in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to kind of check out and just some history on.
And where we have to walk this fine line is, if I have to shoot something at 1,000 yards, I'm not going to pick a 5.56. I'm not going to pick a 6mm arc. I'm not even going to pick a 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm going to get the biggest gun that I have that shoots the flattest, which for me is a 300 normal. Right? If it's like, hey, we have to shoot this one thing at this distance, I'm going to get the biggest, most accurate, flattest shooting gun that I have. Right? So it's all a compromise. Right? And it's just really important that you go, okay, this doesn't replace your precision rifle. If you just have to make one shot at a certain distance, bring a bolt gun. Like, generally bolt guns are going to do better than gas guns will, you know. But if you're like, man, I'm not sure, it could be anything from, you know, getting out of a car and shooting someone at 5 yards to then engaging at 300 and then engaging at 500. Man, the hybrid carbine is the way for that.
And then the conversation continued over kind of selecting the rifle with respect to caliber choice and then optics. So first focal plane versus second focal plane, MRAD versus MOA, and all these different things, and kind of jumping into some ballistics too, like sectional density, things like that, and basically working through ultimately kind of like precision rifle light, talking about kind of all those fundamentals so that we could at least have some concepts and principles before we head over to the range. And then honestly after that, hopped over on the range. Over there on the range, initially just getting good solid zeros, getting confident with our zeros at 100 yards on paper, and then after that opening the range up. So there at the range we had steel range from like 200, 300, 400, 650, 7, I think out to like 1,000. Basically roughly every 100 yards or so there was steel setup. And so the opportunity for you behind your gun with your optic and your ammo to figure out whatever your holds were. Everyone pretty much had some sort of like low power variable, some with BDCs and then others with like mil reticles, and the opportunity to basically figure out whatever your holds were going to be at these different distances and gather dope for your gun. Also there next to me was the winner of the 100K giveaway, shooting his brand new 13-inch 5.56 Sugar Weasel with a primary arms 1-6 on there. And he, previous to this, had, I don't think, ever shot like past 50, maybe 100 yards. And yeah, getting hits out to 650 with that setup, which was pretty awesome. Then early afternoon, kind of wrapped up shooting, and it was time to head back for some more instruction, going over land navigation.
Many years ago, and they said latitude, remember it like you're climbing up the ladder, and I've remembered it that way ever since.
Initially starting kind of broad strokes, lat long, history of kind of navigation, and then jumping into UTM, Universal Transmercator, I think, and then basically 1/24th maps. And with that, kind of how to read them, use the compass as far as setting up declination, all these different things, and then ultimately like how to plot points. And so we were given a number of different points and had to plot them. And of course with that, like how to read your map correctly, your scale, all the different information that's there to include declination. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Got busy plotting some points. Once that was accomplished, time for practical application. So everyone was basically assigned these random points that you had to initially start at, so you weren't just following someone to the same point, and everyone got cut loose in a little land nav practical, basically working your way out to said point, and then from there, again, taking your bearing, figuring out kind of pace count, stuff like that, and heading over to the next one. Also little key things too, like using terrain association and things along those lines, and yeah, basically spent the rest of the afternoon trying to find some points. Then, morning of day 2, mindset talk. Honestly, if you've never heard Bill's mindset talk, which he pretty much gives in all of his classes, arguably worth the price of admission. And every time I hear it, kind of pick up different stuff, because it's one of those where someone can tell you something and you will kind of pick up on the things that you're capable of understanding at that time. And then sometimes it takes a while for things to click, but awesome mindset talk.
Okay, mindset talk. First off, I did not invent this mindset talk. This mindset talk has a long lineage. The guy that has had the most impact for me with this talk is a guy named Tom Kyer. He's one of the senior guys in the SIAT Collie system, and if you ever get the chance to train with him, I would highly recommend it. But just like we talked about this yesterday, every one of you guys has your own system. You should be fully convinced that you have the best system out there. You should never train with anyone that doesn't think their stuff is the best stuff out there. Right? Why would you train with someone that's like, oh yeah, my stuff's okay, but this other stuff is better? Go train with the better stuff. So while this mindset talk did not originate with me, the way I give it is mine, because I've taken it and I've made it mine. Right? The things that resonate with me are the things that I talk about, and the things that don't resonate with me, I don't talk about. So, first off, what is a mindset talk? You know, is it the pre-football game pep talk? The answer, partially, yeah. That's the most correct answer. Is partially yes, or it could be is the answer. Historically, before men would go into battle.
That, honestly, is not mine to share. I will say, if you've never heard it, Bill gives it at all of his classes, arguably worth the price of admission. And it's one of those where, depending on where you are personally on your journey, you're always going to get something out of it. Sometimes things don't necessarily click until you're at a certain point in life, and then things make more sense. And yeah, every time I've heard it, I've got stuff out of it. But once we finished that, it was time to get into the Modern Minuteman competition. So Bill basically outlined all of the rules for the Modern Minuteman competition, which consisted of, I believe, 12 different waypoints and I think 7 different challenges. So certain challenges were going to be front loaded at the beginning, and then other ones were basically at different stages or at different checkpoints, and some of them also were time specific. So you had to be there within a certain window in order to do those different challenges. But once we got all that stuff done, it's time to head out to the start line and kick this thing off. The race initially started with, I want to say, like a 300 or 400 yard sprint or walk, depending on what you want to do, but needed to basically get to the first challenge, which was a shooting challenge. And so I ran Ended up getting there first because it was going to determine kind of the rest of the order, and I was like, all right, like, let's do this thing. I will say I got there and I was pretty gassed out because basically sprint, and with that probably could have gamed it and been like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, take some deep breaths and get into this. But I also had people waiting for me, so I was like, all right, like, let's do this. Threw a mag in, charged my gun, was like, all right, let's go. Consequently, ended up dropping some rounds. Basically, I had to engage with 2 hits at 2, 3, 4, 500, and then 650. And I ended up getting my hits all the way through 500, and then I basically timed out. We had 2-minute like time cap there, but it happened.
Go.
After that, immediately headed over to the next station, which was like a 150-pound sandbag. You needed to drag it out to this tree and then drag it back and then run back out to this tree, and then from basically both sides, draw your pistol and engage targets, again, 2 hits each. That were roughly, I want to say about 10, 15, and then like 25 yards. I want to say like 6-inch plates as far as the closest and the furthest. Not easy, especially when you're gassed out. Again, I had at least 2 minutes between the time that the person was going to go start that station behind me, but in the interest of doing it kind of as prescribed, immediately went into it and consequently ended up dropping a lot of rounds. Like, so gassed out. And then on top of that, shooting other strong side definitely did not help. I ended up actually transitioning to my right hand to get, I think, my last hit or something like that at 25 yards because I was kind of frustrated, and then hopped over to the other side, managed to eventually get all of my hits. Good. Then grab up all your stuff, head over to that third challenge, which was a pull-up station. Basically, you can drop your stuff and you have one opportunity to get up on the bar and do a max set of pull-ups, whatever you can get. Didn't really matter if you kipped or not or did super strict, just had to basically chin over the bar and then all the way extended at the bottom. However you could do it. So that said, I ended up knocking out, I think, 22 pull-ups. So I was like, all right, like, at least I didn't screw this up, even though I pretty much threw away those first 2 events. And then after that, again, clock's still running, so immediately jumped down and started plotting all of my different coordinates. Because initially, right before it started, Bill set down his phone. He had all the coordinates listed, and you just had to go up, take a picture of it real quick, or you could write it down. I don't know if anyone did that. I think everyone pretty much just took a photo of it. And then it was like, okay, you cannot plug anything until the race starts. So technically, as soon as like 3, 2, 1, go over the radio, you could have just sat down and started plugging all your coordinates, got up to that first station, maybe the last person there, shot through it and had them all done. I kind of went the other route, went full speed, got there first, knocked out those first 3 stations, which you had to do. Then basically sat down, plotted my grid coordinates, picked up my stuff, set off on the race. Start off in the lead. We'll see what happens. Dropped a bunch of rounds shooting pistol and didn't finish rifle, but we get. First one, I'm going off terrain association. Should get close. It looks like it drops right over the side of this. It's a little steeper than I think I want to walk. Try and skirt it some and kind of use hopefully terrain association to get there. Pretty sure I was on track for waypoint number 2, but way too early in the game to just blow it, and there's no one to like double check my work off of. So if I screwed up on where that waypoint is and sent me down a mountain I don't need to go down, lose. So went ahead, burned one of my points that I can use in GPS, and yeah, it's gonna guide me there. Right here is waypoint number 2. I initially saw it, I was like, oh man, maybe that's just a plant, but it's not. Second and third waypoints, I believe, are probably pretty easy to get to from here. So I'm gonna go ahead back to the map and yeah, knock out these next 2. About another 100 meters to go, I think. Checkpoint 3. Checkpoint 3 is definitely giving me some problems. Train association, like, shot my azimuth, did all the stuff, but having a hard time finding it. Was getting frustrated, ended up burning another point. Now I got it, so on to 4th waypoint now. Was not finding this one. Next one should be right down there at the creek. I'm on basically a switchback path, which should get me down there without injury, is the plan.
I looked and I thought, oh no, they won't throw it up the edge.
Right here, number 4, pretty much kind of dead wrecking down to the creek. Ran into this gentleman.
Hi.
And yeah, number 4 in the bag. Fortunately, did not have to burn a like rep, I guess, burn a use with my GPS. So gotta head back up the mountain and press on. How'd you do on the shooting?
Pretty good. Got to the... I missed on the 4, but...
Good work, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice work. It's easier coming downhill than uphill.
So you already came down this?
Yeah.
And this is the best way out?
For me it is. One of the guys coming down was like, basically, is this the best route going back up? Like, for me it is. Got me second guessing myself though. I checked the map and like, to beeline to another point, you need like rappel gear. So I'm like, yeah, it's the best for me. Grind it out. Back up top, that was not super fun, but back up more or less where I started, and using terrain association and the point I was at yesterday, I should be able to dead reckon my way out there, at least to the point I hit yesterday, and then shoot a line if I need to, and then pace it out. I ended up thinking I blew past waypoint like 4 from yesterday, trying to get to 5. Shoot, now I'm all confused. 162. Okay, going to waypoint 5, and yeah, basically now Gaia just crashed, so that was cool. So now I'm trying to I guess I gotta put it back in because I'm pretty sure it crashed. But yeah, I'm gonna burn another GPS use because whatever, I need to get there. And I'm gonna take this minute to drink some water too and hydrate. Alright, pounding some water, about a liter. I'm 280 meters from waypoint 5, so yeah, gonna get to it. Alright, I burned three uses of my GPS. I'm in it. This is my 5th waypoint. The 6th waypoint was one we actually hit yesterday, so if I'm not totally screwed up, I should be able to get to that one again without needing, hopefully, to really do much. And then, I say that right now, and then yeah, go from there. Definitely haven't winded these deer. The buck right there in velvet. All right, onward. Pretty sure I'm just passing number 6 from yesterday, or 5 from yesterday. All right, that's number 6 right there. Honestly, just starting to get a little worried. I'm like, it's a 2 Cavalier. Did I overshoot it? Fortunately, no, I did not. But I don't want to burn a point I don't have to, so it's time to do some map and compass work and get myself to number 7, even though I can definitely do a fair bit of train association. Maybe I'll just go for it. Possibly against better judgment. I'm just going for it. Pretty prominent train features, like both 7 and 8. So full send. Hopefully I won't have to burn another GPS point. Sometimes it pays to run into other people. I knew it was somewhere on the backside, and these other guys were looking for it too. I was just coming by train association, and then we started walking around where I figured it was on the backside of. I'm looking down here. Here it is. All right. Number 7 in the bag. Back up. I guess I'll walk to it so no one claims I cheated. All right. Now back up. Train association got me here, so now there's a challenge.
So, competitor ready?
Ready?
Go. Flame.
Challenge complete. All right, I just completed the little flame challenge deal, and that's waypoint 8. There's waypoint 9, waypoint 10, waypoint 11. Waypoint 11 has 3 challenges, and waypoint 12 is the end. I'm going to go ahead and skip waypoint 9 and 10. That'll give me, or take away, 10 points, because if I come in first, second, or third, I'm already up 10 points. So gotta skip that, hit the challenges, and cut back to the starting point and finish this thing. 1.2 kilometers to go. Have a good one, guys. Oldest and second oldest son competing, just coming from 11, so yeah, almost there. I'm now at waypoint 11. Someone is hot micing it, that's sweet, and Mr. Rapier is going to explain, I believe, 3 challenges, so we got that going.
Stand by. Go. Good. 25:44. Go. Dot adjustment on the fly is a thing.
Dot dead.
Nice. Nice. 113 yards on this one. Just hold dead on. Or high jump. Not seeing it. Okay, that's right and low. Nice, one more. Slowly squeeze that trigger. Nice. Good job. 1:26:19.
Home stretch. I just got to cut across this field. Someone's glad to be out of the car. His name is Peanut. Pretty sure I'm the first one back. Made it back at 14:10. Alright, kind of tired. I need to go pee and probably need to drink something and eat something. Been working off of 2 cups of coffee and some Propel in a liter of water I drank on the race.
Ironically, I ended up actually winning. And I say ironically because I kind of screwed myself. On the one hand, honestly, I probably shouldn't have pushed so hard in the beginning. I should have just came in like 3rd in kind of that front order. had like at least 4 minutes to just catch my breath and then push through the rest of those events. But I didn't. Went full on and basically blew all my shooting in those first 2 events. It is what it is. But where I actually screwed up is totally misunderstanding the rules that were laid out. In that I thought whoever came back first, like finished, basically they ended up with 20 points for finishing first, as opposed to the regular 5 points for just making a waypoint or a challenge. So if you came in first, second, or third, it was 20, 15, 10, or 5 for just attempting or making a waypoint. And I was like, oh, well, if I get there first in front of everyone, even if I skip on purpose 2 waypoints, then it won't matter. Like, I'll get an extra 20 points and I will have lost 10. Like, whatever, no big deal. Like, great trade-off, right? No, that wasn't it. So if and when you hit all of the waypoints, if you're the first one back, having hit all the waypoints, then you get the extra 20 points. And so I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. And yeah, I could have, like, I think I came in at least 45 minutes in front of the next fastest person, which didn't hit all the waypoints, I don't think. And they were pretty much gimmies, like those last 2 I skipped, which I think was 9 and 10. And I still had at least 2 uses left of GPS, so I could have just plugged them in and like ran to them. My bad. But I still ended up winning, which was pretty cool. Overall, Modern Minuteman Course was awesome. On the one hand, I really like the format. Basically, day 1, you get to learn some different skills and practice them. So in the morning, you have kind of mid-range carbine. Afternoon, you have land nav. And yeah, then day 2, a competition that involves those skills that you just learned the day prior, as well as some other skills that honestly kind of flesh out the idea and concept of a modern Minuteman. Being able to move under load, land nav, shoot, whether it is with a carbine or with a pistol, physical challenges, like all of these different things that kind of come together to, yeah, basically flesh out like a modern Minuteman. And while there's definitely a lot of different competitions out there, and some of them are pretty fun, I think I really enjoyed this. One, again, that format, and then the actual application. So I did a bunch of tactical games back in the day, which was pretty fun. Like, honestly, at least kind of towards the beginning. Eventually it just turned into CrossFit and shooting, but it's fun, like being able to be challenged physically and then also like shooting. And then this obviously takes that to the next level, because one, it adds a level of like practicality to it. Like, you're not just lifting a sandbag over the bar for the sake of lifting a sandbag over the bar. And then on top of that, yeah, just the different varied events. Overall, really, really cool experience. If you're interested in the Modern Minuteman course, there'll be links down below over to AMTAC Shooting. You check out all the courses over there. And overall, just a rad course and competition rooted in reality at the end of the day. But if you appreciate my content and want to support it, greatly appreciate it, whether it's liking and sharing videos or supporting me directly over on Patreon, early access to videos, some exclusive stuff, little as $1 a month. And if you have questions for me, happy to answer them over there, where we have active Discord. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.
I see a